There comes a chilling moment when the narcissist finally realizes it's all over. The mask slips, the control fades, and the audience disappears. Psychologists explain this realization is devastating because it shatters the illusion they've worked so hard to maintain. And when that happens, the horrible things they do next can leave scars on everyone around them. At first, they lash out in rage. Psychologists call this narcissistic injury, a violent reaction to losing power. They attack with words, smear campaigns, and attempts to destroy reputations. The horrible truth is they would rather burn everything to the ground than accept defeat. Their fury becomes their weapon, but it only confirms that control has slipped away. When rage doesn't restore their power, they turn to manipulation. Narcissists might suddenly act sweet, apologetic, or vulnerable. Psychologists explain this as hoovering, a desperate attempt to suck people back in. But the apologies are hollow, the tears rehearsed. The horrible thing is, they exploit compassion, pretending to change while plotting their next move. If hoovering fails, they often resort to playing the victim. Psychologists highlight that narcissists flip the script, claiming they were the ones mistreated. They'll tell dramatic stories, painting themselves as abandoned or betrayed. The horrible outcome is that outsiders may believe them, offering sympathy while the true victims are left silenced, doubted, and invalidated. Another horrible reaction is sabotage. When they realize it's over, narcissists often try to ruin the lives of those who escaped. Psychologists describe smear campaigns, financial sabotage, or even legal battles. Their goal is to punish you for walking away. They believe if they can't control you, they can at least make you suffer for breaking free. Some narcissists dig into the past, dragging up secrets. Psychologists explain that they weaponize personal information, using it as blackmail or gossip. The horrible betrayal stings deeply because it's built on trust you once gave them. Instead of protecting intimacy, they use it as ammunition, reminding you that vulnerability with them always comes with a price. Others collapse into despair, but even that despair becomes a weapon. Psychologists call this manipulative self-pity. They cry, threaten, or hint at harming themselves to pull you back in. The horrible thing is, it's not genuine. They're using your empathy as a chain. It leaves you feeling guilty and trapped, even when freedom is what you need most. Sometimes they turn to reckless behavior. Psychologists note that narcissists might binge, overspend, or rush into shallow relationships when collapse hits. These behaviors scream desperation. The horrible truth is, they'd rather destroy themselves than admit defeat. But instead of facing reality, they drown it out with chaos, dragging others down in the process. They may also attack through triangulation. Psychologists explain that narcissists pit people against each other to regain control. They might compare you to someone else, or use new partners to provoke jealousy. The horrible tactic is designed to pull you back into competition for their attention, even when the relationship is long over. And here's the most chilling part. When the narcissist realizes it's all over, the horrible thing they do is refuse to let go. Psychologists emphasize that they'll haunt your life with messages, rumors, or sudden appearances. They cannot accept the ending, so they force themselves back into your story. But in doing so, they reveal how powerless they've truly become. When their old tricks stop working, narcissists often escalate. Psychologists explain they'll push boundaries further, doing things you never thought they were capable of. They may stalk, harass, or constantly intrude, all to prove they still have influence. The horrible reality is that their desperation grows the moment they realize you've truly slipped beyond their control. Another horrible tactic is gaslighting from a distance. Even when separated, narcissists twist stories and deny the past. Psychologists note they'll tell others, "That never happened," or "They imagined it all." This erases your truth and undermines your credibility. What makes it horrible is not just the lie, but the way it isolates you from those who might support you. Some narcissists weaponize children or family ties. Psychologists explain that in co-parenting situations, they may manipulate kids, turning them against the other parent, or they stir division within families demanding loyalty. This horrible tactic ensures chaos remains even after the relationship ends, leaving victims exhausted while the narcissist thrives on ongoing conflict. Financial sabotage is another horrible move. Psychologists highlight that narcissists may withhold money, rack up debts, or destroy resources out of spite. They view finances not as responsibility but as power. When it all ends, they'd rather both sides sink than let you stand independently. Their actions prove that destruction matters more to them than fairness. Some resort to obsessive monitoring. Psychologists emphasize that narcissists may stalk social media, check mutual contacts, or even physically follow people. Their obsession is fueled by rage that you moved on. The horrible truth is they can't stand irrelevance. By watching, they feed their anger but also confirm their greatest fear. You live fine without them. In desperate times, narcissists often spread dangerous lies. Psychologists explain that smear campaigns grow extreme, with false accusations designed to ruin reputations. They'll portray you as unstable or cruel, convincing others they're the true victim. The horrible thing is, some people believe them, leaving you fighting not just for healing, but for your own good name. Some narcissists destroy keepsakes or symbols of the relationship. Psychologists highlight that they may throw away gifts, burn photos, or damage property. These acts are not about closure, they're about revenge. The horrible intent is to rewrite history, erasing reminders of your bond, while punishing you for daring to leave their carefully crafted world. Another horrible behavior is rapid replacement. Psychologists explain that narcissists rush into new relationships, flaunting them to provoke jealousy. They post photos, tell stories of bliss, and compare the new partner to you. But underneath, it's empty. The horrible truth is the replacement isn't about love. It's a performance designed to cover their loss of control. They may also turn to reckless revenge. Psychologists warn that narcissists, when cornered, sometimes cross legal or moral lines. They spread false accusations, file unnecessary complaints, or create conflicts at work. The horrible thing is their willingness to risk everything just to prove they're not powerless. It's not justice they seek. It's destruction. When all else fails, some narcissists collapse into victimhood. Psychologists note that they'll tell anyone who will listen, "I gave everything, and they ruined me." These performances draw sympathy, but inside, they know the truth. The horrible part is that they rewrite the story so convincingly, outsiders see them as noble sufferers instead of manipulators. At times, they stage dramatic exits. Psychologists highlight that they may announce they're leaving town, quitting jobs, or cutting everyone off. This grand gesture is designed to provoke guilt and chase after them. The horrible reality is they never actually change. They just use drama to shift attention back to themselves, feeding on pity one last time. Some narcissists try to bait you back into arguments. Psychologists explain that conflict is their way of keeping you engaged. They'll say outrageous things, provoke insults, or reopen old wounds. The horrible truth is that even negative attention feels like victory to them. They'd rather be hated than ignored, because silence is their ultimate defeat. In the endgame, many narcissists weaponize secrets. Psychologists note that intimate details you once shared become tools of blackmail or gossip. They know exposing your vulnerability will cause pain, and they use that knowledge to control. The horrible thing is the betrayal. It proves they never valued trust, only power, and now they're desperate to cling to it. Some immerse themselves in reckless indulgence. Psychologists highlight that without control, narcissists often turn to addictive behaviors, alcohol, drugs, gambling. These vices numb their emptiness temporarily, but leave devastation behind. The horrible spiral doesn't just harm them, it affects everyone around them, creating fresh trauma in the wake of their collapse. They may also start rewriting history to anyone who listens. Psychologists explain that they'll insist, "I never loved them," or "I was never happy anyway." These lies serve to protect their ego. The horrible irony is they erase real moments of connection, reducing entire relationships to stories that fit their pride, leaving you erased from the narrative. Some narcissists lash out physically, though not all. Psychologists warn that their rage can manifest in aggression when manipulation fails. It's a horrible escalation, fueled by desperation. Even if they don't strike, their threats and intimidation create fear. This shows their final tactic: raw force when words and tricks no longer bring obedience. Others weaponize silence. Psychologists note that suddenly cutting off all communication is their way of punishing. They want you to feel abandoned, confused, or desperate for closure. The horrible part is, it isn't healing, it's calculated cruelty. They disappear not to move on, but to leave you suffering in unanswered questions and unfinished pain. Some narcissists cling to bitterness for years. Psychologists emphasize that even decades later, they might talk about you with resentment, unable to let go. Their obsession keeps them trapped, replaying the past endlessly. The horrible thing is, they choose resentment over growth, proving that even long after you've healed, they remain chained to their own hatred. When collapse sets in fully, narcissists face emptiness. Psychologists explain that without supply, they confront the truth they've always run from, that their identity was built on lies. The horrible outcome is despair without change. Instead of reflecting, they double down on denial, ensuring the cycle repeats. They are trapped in a cage of their own making. And here's the harshest reality. When the narcissist realizes it's all over, the horrible thing they do is refuse to change. Psychologists highlight that they choose pride over healing, lies over truth, destruction over peace. In doing so, they confirm the victory of those who walked away. Their ending is not growth. It is isolation, bitterness, and regret. When narcissists realize their power is gone, many spiral into obsessive watching. Psychologists note they lurk on social media, hunting for signs of your life without them. Each smile, each success becomes torture, proof you don't need them. The horrible thing is, they keep watching anyway, feeding their bitterness while convincing themselves you still belong to them. Some turn to reckless replacements, jumping from person to person. Psychologists explain these rushed connections aren't about love, they're about masking loss. They flaunt new partners, trying to show they've moved on. The horrible truth is, they treat people as props, not partners. Each replacement becomes another failed attempt to fill a void that never closes. Others weaponize mutual friends. Psychologists highlight that they'll spread lies, force people to pick sides, and twist stories until support systems fracture. This horrible tactic isolates you, making you feel alone in your truth. But it also exposes them, because real friends eventually notice the pattern of destruction and grow tired of the endless drama. Some narcissists retreat into fantasy worlds. Psychologists note that when reality feels unbearable, they rewrite history in their minds. They imagine victories, relive old arguments, or daydream about revenge. The horrible outcome is that they stop living in the present altogether. Instead, they cling to illusions, avoiding the one thing that could heal them, truth. Others take to public performance. Psychologists explain they become louder online, boasting about achievements, vacations, or wealth. But the horrible irony is that the louder they shout, the more fragile they appear. Their exaggerated performance screams insecurity. Instead of admiration, they attract skepticism, proving their act can no longer hide the emptiness inside. Some narcissists also turn into extreme martyrs. Psychologists highlight that they'll say things like, "I gave everything, and look what I got in return." They exaggerate sacrifice, demanding pity. The horrible truth is, they never gave without expectation. They gave to control. By twisting generosity into victimhood, they continue manipulating even in their collapse. They may also turn violent in their words. Psychologists explain that narcissists in collapse often unleash insults meant to wound deeply. They attack looks, intelligence, or worth, aiming for lasting scars. The horrible part is their cruelty is intentional. They want you to doubt your healing. Yet in reality, their words reveal their own unraveling, not your truth. Other narcissists shift to extreme silence, cutting all ties. Psychologists note that this isn't healing, it's punishment. The horrible intent is to leave you questioning yourself, wondering what went wrong. But silence is not closure. It's their last attempt to control the narrative, proving they'd rather vanish in anger than face accountability. Some collapse into addictions. Psychologists highlight that substances or compulsive behaviors offer temporary escape from shame. But the horrible cycle worsens their decline, isolating them further. Instead of rebuilding, they drown in habits that numb but never heal. Their refusal to face reality traps them in self-destruction, proving how deep their fear of truth runs. They may also lash out at the innocent. Psychologists explain that narcissists displaced anger onto children, co-workers, or friends when direct control is gone. The horrible cruelty is that they punish those least able to defend themselves. By spreading pain, they temporarily feel powerful again, though in reality they're only exposing how weak they've become. Narcissists sometimes fake transformation. Psychologists note they suddenly claim to be self-aware, posting about growth or attending therapy. But the horrible truth is, it's performance for sympathy or attention. Without accountability, change never lasts. Their so-called healing is just another mask, proving they've learned nothing except how to disguise manipulation more convincingly. Some turn paranoid. Psychologists highlight that they see betrayal everywhere, assuming others conspire against them. The horrible reality is that their paranoia stems from projection. They know how much they lied, so they assume everyone else is lying too. This robs them of peace, trapping them in a mental prison of suspicion and fear. They also destroy themselves with envy. Psychologists emphasize that seeing former victims thrive is unbearable. Every success you achieve is a mirror of their failure. The horrible thing they do is stew in jealousy, comparing constantly, unable to celebrate anyone else's growth. Instead of learning, they curse the freedom they secretly wish they had. Some narcissists grow addicted to revenge fantasies. Psychologists note they replay plots of teaching you a lesson. These obsessive thoughts consume them, preventing healing. The horrible truth is their fixation gives you more power, because while you move forward, they remain stuck in the past. Their obsession is their punishment, but they never realize it. Narcissists often cycle between arrogance and despair. Psychologists explain they may boast one moment and collapse the next. This horrible instability creates chaos for anyone still around them. Their mood swings aren't growth, they're evidence of collapse. Without supply, they lose balance, drifting between false pride and deep emptiness with no resolution. Some narcissists attempt financial control. Psychologists note they may withhold support, refuse fair settlements, or sabotage stability. The horrible thing is money becomes their last weapon when love fails. They see finances as power, not responsibility. But over time, this backfires, as their bitterness only drains them further while others eventually rebuild without them. They may also turn to reckless publicity stunts. Psychologists explain that attention is oxygen, so they'll do outrageous things just to stay visible. The horrible outcome is humiliation. They lose respect rather than gain it. But in their mind, even negative attention is better than being forgotten, so they cling to chaos over silence. At their core, the horrible thing narcissists do is refuse accountability. Psychologists remind us that healing begins with ownership, but they resist it until the end. Instead of admitting mistakes, they blame, lie, and deflect. This refusal seals their fate. Without accountability, there is no change, only a lifetime of repeating the same toxic patterns. Eventually, narcissists face the emptiness they cannot outrun. Psychologists highlight that the silence, the lost relationships, the broken trust, all converge. The horrible outcome is isolation. While victims rebuild and grow, narcissists sit in the ruins of the world they destroyed, haunted by the reality they denied for so long. This is their true ending. So when the narcissist realizes it's all over, the horrible thing they do is cling harder to lies, control, and destruction instead of healing. Psychologists emphasize that this is not your burden, it's theirs. Your victory lies in walking away, refusing to engage, and building a life free of their chaos. Share this, subscribe, and let others know. Endings with narcissists are painful, but freedom is worth it.